True crime with terrible sight world of YouTube Archie here with finally finding the right cemetery. Now, here's the path that comes from Route 70. As you can see above, the middle cemetery is what it's called. And I'll tell you something, I looked on the map about sometime last year when I came. I got a video up anyways. And as you can see, this land clear out right here, how bright and clear it is. This path didn't exist when I came to this cemetery. It might have been even 2 years ago I came to this cemetery. I panned around trying to find these stones in a newspaper article that I found in 1987, not knowing that this was the wrong cemetery, of course, but due to the fact the boat trail that the guy canoed on is down through these woods over here. If you were to go this way, tracks, the bridge will go over the river, and down below there's a whole drive-in loop around that you can go in. But to get to this cemetery, you gotta climb up the hill near the bridge. But middle cemetery, if you park down there, you come out this way, you'll see it from the road. You will end up on the tracks. And of course, someone that lived here in Lancaster throughout the 60s, 70s. This used to be a stomping ground for kids, probably for partying or whatnot. You know, what kids did best back in the day, no biggie. But due to the fact that this is, as you come down here, as you can see, I just walked not even less than a 1/10 of a mile or whatnot. Like I said, when I first looked up this cemetery over here and trying to find it, this cemetery never came up. Never. It did not show on Google Maps. There was and I have it screenshot. I have a video of it, but further down the road on Route 70, a pin drop came up and there's now houses there. And they were stating that a cemetery was there. Now, whether or not they moved that cemetery from that spot into the woods, or this has just been here all along, which I think it has, because like I said, I have been commented on this. Someone knew about this. So, the question is the cemetery down the street that I have a pin drop on, was that a cemetery then moved? But I know something where that clear out I just showed up a minute ago, that cemetery literally did not have all them stones in that clear out area, mind you. So, and all of a sudden all them stones came in one day. I drove by, I was like, whoa! And my eyes just bugged out of my head because I'm like, what the F is that? What's going on? But here it is, laying deep in the woods, and it was called at the time Indian Cemetery. So that, mind you, Nashua River behind me, over here, you go down here, you'll end up at the Nashua River. All out along the outskirts of this area are the farmlands, opened areas. And if people know Native Americans, out in the field when the animals used to gaze themselves of eating or whatever, you know, coming out from the woods and doing what they did, and Native Americans used to hunt them, of course, to kill, to eat. So this whole area now, I've got it. It finally has came forth, which I'm going to go over the cemetery in a minute, but Native Americans strongly lived here if they had a burial here. Especially, I can honestly say a camp was here also. And due to the fact that how the landscape looks. Of course, also, if you know anything about Native Americans, they used to live and hunted in the winter time under the pine trees due to the fact that, the hell, I'm stepping on all these sticks. Due to the fact that hunting and the animals would take shelter to the pine trees and stuff. So that being said, and all this being coming forth, and as you can see, heavy pine needles lay on the ground. So I'm going to say a Native American camp once lived along the ridges in this area. And what the hell is that? Anyways, I just thought I heard knocking on the trees or some kind of light tap. But as you can see, the trails right here, Native American trails. I would definitely put money on that's what these are. Now I'm starting to hear stuff. And tapping on trees, mind you. Was a form of communication back in the day. Which I'm hearing some very light taps. But also, someone has went up into the cemetery. I'm sure they're not doing it, but I don't know who else is out here. But a guy just went up there in the cemetery. My wife is always up, also up there too, but honestly, I can say these trails are heavily walked too. But that tapping in the trees I just heard. And as you can see, nothing. There gotta be some nice strong spirits in these woods. I don't care what anybody says. 'Cause I do feel it. When you hear a noise like that and you don't see nothing. And lately I've been doing a lot of studying on birds, squirrels, chipmunks, whatever the case may be, just to see if that would be that type of animal out here. But I do not see trees moving besides a little breeze or snapping of the branches due to squirrels jumping and leaping. That small, tiny tap. But I do hear squirrels behind me. But they don't tap on trees. They would make a warning call or something if they, felt threatened from me. So like I said, I've been studying nature too. Just for the mere fact of coming out here to these spots to make sure that, people ain't commenting saying, hey, you got someone out there. No, I don't. Even though a gentleman just walked up here through the path and went up there. But yeah, I tell you, this is very... I'm going to go over the cemetery. I'm going to see how far the river is. This is very awesome that I have found this. Very awesome that I am near Native American dwellings. And I'm sure the spirits rise high here too. But I'm interested. It's hard to say, of course. Knowing the trees back then, yeah, that's a long walk over there. I don't want to go that far. But all the trees that used to not be here back in the day and have, grown in, but I'm sure the pine trees, them things, boy, them things last forever due to the fact that bugs can't eat them because of the sap inside, which is a good thing. But I have been seeing a lot of them deteriorating, but I'm sure they've gotten a long run in history. But all these other little jungle bunny trees that are, grow into weeds or something, and I can't even say that stupid carbon monoxide makes poison ivy, which I read before, stronger and grows more due to the fact of there's a chipmunk right there. See what I mean? Always got my eyes open studying stuff. Just ran right across, so. But I am sure that squirrels, chipmunks, and other animals don't tap on trees besides woodpeckers. And them things I know what they sound like too, because they do a lot of da-da-da-da-da-da, then stop, and da-da-da-da-da-da. So it's not an individual tap like I was just hearing before. Now they have stopped. But always looking into nature. Always got something to put into my videos as I talk about history and what I'm looking for when I come out to these places. So all in all, the graveyard here is pretty big. And I gotta take my pictures when I'm done here to see if I do catch anything like I always do. I'll do a little rundown over here. And as you can see, many gravestones lie here. And I wonder how many which are buried over Native American bodies. Because honestly, that's what people used to do back in the day. When they took over the land, they didn't care what they were taking over. It sucks to say, but yes, they were literally disrespecting, because of course the time and the war and how they all just started to go after each other. Everybody was savage, especially the natives getting falsely put down as just not human being. Wow, this freaking cemetery is long. And I guarantee, I'm going to tell you something right now, I will be out here at night. Oh, yes, I will. Now that I have found this and I've been looking for the cemetery, and I know when I was looking at the other one, something wasn't right, so this explains it. And as you can see, as we sit up on a huge mound hill, you go over there, you're down the side, go over here, you're on a banking, two bankings, and I know damn well this is Native American dwelling. Of course, the path comes alongside it. But damn, this is crazy. I mean, this ain't the first time I've seen a cemetery like this, but out in the woods, of course. Of course, there's another cemetery in, Royalston that had to have been moved. But this friggin' cemetery is strange looking, too. And I mean, the railroad tracks, and I mean how it's placed right now, and why settlers would come out here to, bury out here is just, it would be confusing. Never heard that before. That was strange. But yeah, this cemetery is very, very built in some weirdness. Weirdness, I tell you.
What was that?
I don't know.
We're like in the jungle.
Something laughing at you. Oh, look at these stones. Yeah, see, it gets even more bizarre. Of course, these are the people that Pauline Revere. Huh! Now, but I wonder if they're relatives of the Paul Revere. Maybe a niece, granddaughter. Of course, the cemetery, as you can see, ends over here. Oh, wait a minute. Comes down. Everything around here is just... Yep. And that brings me to Alpine Cemetery in Fitchburg, Mass. The pin drop and the name of it is on the map, but when you go up there, it's nothing but a field. So I'm assuming that was a family-oriented cemetery, and the stones probably were moved or something. But yeah, like this is why people would bury their people out in the friggin' woods is beyond me. Just like Royalston, just like me going out to that other town I went out to, friggin' out in the woods. It's just insane how these people used to bury back then. Whether or not it was to protect their graves, maybe because of their sick thoughts of the Native Americans coming to disturb it, because they would have, probably chipmunk holes. I just seen some, but maybe that's why they did it. But to bury it on Native American land is a different thing. I mean, taking over their grave to put your grave. Whatever the case may be, it's just insane. I mean, although they buried over Native Americans because it was sacred land, and yeah, make sure no one disturbed it. Maybe they did do some respectful things back then, but this is just nuts how they got this cemetery. But I'm glad I found it. And I'm going to take some pictures. And of course, I'm going to be coming out to this place at night, setting up the old night vision. I can't wait, because this is one more place that I need to know to be. That's right, being on Native American land. See what I catch. But other than that, if you're looking for this, Route 70 Middle Cemetery, and if you're coming from the Lancaster side, you would look to your left of the road, and you'll see a path of all kinds of bark mulch path alongside the cemetery, and you can't miss it anyways, because on the other side is a old retirement home place, so you'll know where to go, cross the tracks, and then you'll see the rock path to this. But dang, insane how they used to do this stuff. Don't understand it, but I mean, I'm sure they had their reasons, and like I already said, yeah, respectable things or whatnot, but burying over the natives is just, to me, is like kind of disrespecting. Taking something that was already used is just not good. Of course, back then, everybody hated each other, so. But I'm going to take my pictures now. I'm glad I got to show this, found it. I'm coming back at night. Do a little yee-naw douchey out here, too, my friends. Get that Native American skinwalker riled up, because I know they travel. Till the next video, be safe, take care, always beware, and if you come here, always don't forget to honor the Native Americans also. Till that next video, out.